And the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So this has now passed the House and the Senate. This originally passed the House, went to the Senate where they made changes. I'll give you the changes here right now, actually, in a second. And then went back to the House where they had to then approve the changes. And now President Donald Trump will sign it. He undoubtedly will sign it. And so let's go over the changes here. Take a look. Yeah, you can see directly here from the White House, history made. The one big beautiful bill is on its way to President Donald Trump. It said President Trump's one big beautiful bill delivers on common sense agenda that nearly 80 million Americans voted for. The largest middle class tax cut in history, which was the largest thing in the bill. That was the middle class tax cut was the largest paid for in the bill. Permanent border security, massive military funding, and restoring fiscal sanity. Live updates. House passes GOP mega bill, sends it to Trump desk. Democratic leader King Jeffrey delays final vote with a marathon speech. Democrats were not happy because you can see some headlines here how millions of people could or will lose health insurance if Trump's tax bill becomes law when President Donald Trump signs it. Talking about Medicaid, because Medicaid will kick off millions of Americans with this bill, as $880 billion in federal Medicaid cuts will be cut to Medicaid, and work requirements is the main way that they will make this happen. And this is going to be cut. This is now passed into law, and we'll go over some details here as this is now passed by the Trump's big beautiful bill. So there's just major changes here. So here's some of the details. Permanent extensions of the 2017 tax cuts, which basically lowers the tax brackets for all Americans. So there's some good and there's some bad in this bill, and we'll go over. It depends on who you are, and it depends on how you look at all these things. But one thing is that lower taxes for Americans is a good thing. So this is a good thing. Pretty much almost everybody will agree with this one, is that lower taxes for every single tax bracket, whether it's the low tax brackets, the middle tax brackets, or the high tax brackets, is a good thing. Lower taxes for any American is a good thing. So whether you're Democrat, Republican, or anybody, lower taxes is a good thing. New deductions for tips, overtime, and auto loan interest up to $10,000. I believe it's for American-made cars only. All these are pretty much good things as well. These won't affect everybody, but less taxes, again, a good thing. Again, there's going to be a lot of things in this bill that will not affect everything, but will lead to less taxes for millions of Americans. So the Trump's promises on no tax on tips, no tax on overtime did go through, and a $10,000 interest deduction on auto loans if the car is made in America is also a big one. Now, new $2,200 for American families for the child tax credits and also adoption credits is a big one here. So that was increased here. Let me bring up the tab that I have here on that one. Yeah, so the child tax credits, most people are at least somewhat know about this. If you have children, this is a good way to help with expenses, food, clothing, or rent. They have now increased this with up to $1,600 of that refundable, which means eligible families can receive a portion of the credit as a refund, even if they owe no federal income tax.
think you've had enough for now,
which is basically a check back. So again, this is basically putting checks back into American families, kids, and more. The bill boosts the child tax credit up to $2,200 and would rise every year past this for inflation, which is a good thing as well, helping millions and millions of children across the nation, and studies have proven that this helps childhood poverty. It does not change the refundable portion of the credit, which is set at $1,600, so that will not increase due to inflation. But $2,200 right now, and refundable portion of $1,600, which is both good news here for families and children. And studies have shown that this does reduce childhood poverty, so some good news there as well. The $1,000 creation of MAGA accounts.
Yo, what you need?
America, great accounts.
Yeah, player. We'll get it to you.
Tax advantage savings. Also, the $1,000 Trump, what they're called baby bonuses, the Trump savings accounts will go into effect here as well. We'll be covering all these here more in future videos, more details on all this stuff. So there's a lot of good things in this video, or in this bill, but there's also some things that some people aren't too happy about here as well. We'll cover here in a moment. Okay, briefly, I mentioned this here on the last video, but the United States has filed a False Claims Act on complaints against 3 national health insurance companies and 3 brokers alleging against unlawful kickbacks and discrimination against disabled Americans. So if you or any loved ones are on Medicare, Medicare Advantage, or any Medicare services, this is why I recommend Chapter Medicare. Chapter Medicare was actually founded because their parents got scammed and they're trying to change the system. And they actually have a proprietary system where they can scan through every Medicare, Medicare Advantage, and Medicare provider in the entire country to find you or your loved ones the best plan for you, or can save you tons of money. And on average, they actually save people that use their services, which is completely free, about $1,100 on average.
Trying to sell somebody some
with
shit.
these benefits,
I don't want to
actually
hear that shit, man. I want to hear more about what's going on.
$12,000 here. So, yes, they're calling it a $6,000 senior bonus here. That is included here. I go over more details here in the previous video here. That is included here in this as well. That did make it into the final bill. So there is the $6,000 senior bonus here. Also the $2,200 child tax credit, as well as the $1,000 Trump savings account, the largest what is it? Let's see here. The largest tax cuts for the middle class, what they call it. But you also have things like the Medicaid and SNAP cuts to help pay for this bill. So you have some good things and some bad things depending on who's looking at it here. Now, some things that people are not happy about. Nearly $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid.
Why they ain't happy about that?
Requirements for Medicaid and SNAP.
Why they ain't happy about that?
Major cuts to SNAP.
They want the SNAP. It's cutting because you got people on that shit that should be on.
Medicaid funding for gender transition procedures for minors. Expanded access to health savings accounts. So you can see the headline here: how millions of people could lose health insurance if Trump's tax bill becomes law. President
Bullshit.
Trump signs this.
Bullshit.
It will become law.
Bullshit.
And under the Republican plan, states will need to verify a person's income check to Medicaid every 6 months. And able-bodied, you'll have to work or go to school. Most covered losses are expected to come from the GOP's work requirement. People aged 19 to 64 will be required to go to work. volunteer or go to school for 80 hours per month in order to qualify for Medicaid under the new law. They'll be exempted if they're disabled, pregnant, or parent a children who is 14 or younger. But they're going to try to even, I think, we'll have to see here. They're going to try to, the whole disabled thing, they're gonna try to make it only for very disabled people. I mean, that's just my inkling, but we'll see. We'll see on that. I'll keep you up to date here. It can encourage people who don't value Medicaid coverage not to sign up for it, and that saves the government money. The Republicans just want more people to work. The writing's on the wall if you haven't seen it.
A lot of people that got that free shit acting like they hurt, acting like they this, and acting like they that. That shit over with.
You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. Republicans want more people to work. The writing is on the wall. In some cases, people will lose coverage even if they are working. They will fall victim to bureaucratic errors, overlooked forms, and trouble getting all the documents, like proof of employment, tax forms, etc. Now, they're saying these Medicaid costs will not go into effect until the end of next year. So basically a year and a few months from now, the end of 2026. So right after the midterms, So Republicans are very tactical about this, and they want to go get the midterms over, and then these are going to go into effect. So you guys can let me know your thoughts on it. But we are seeing a lot of details that says up to 11.8 million Americans will lose Medicaid coverage over the next decade. We also have a big increase in the standard deduction, as well as a big increase in ICE funding. For ICE, I believe it's actually one of, if not the biggest, government funded government agencies now, which is huge. In fact, ICE now has a bigger budget than Israel's defense budget per year.